Namaskar. Welcome to one more episode of What Does This Data Say? Thank God it's over. The polls of the 5 states are finally done and dusted. And while we all wait for the results, and probably by the time you see this episode, the results would be out, I will take you back to the Ukraine war, which surprisingly has vanished from all our media channels in the last few days. There is no point looking at the opinion polls because none of the opinion polls have a good track record. So let's talk about a different topic. I am going to talk about an aspect of the Ukrainian war which concerns the relationship of Turkey with the Russians. This news has not been carried by many in the electronic or the digital media. Turkey has taken one action last week which could either escalate the war or probably diffuse it. On February 26th, President Zelensky of Ukraine had given out this tweet. The tweet read, "I thank my friend Mr. President of Turkey and the people of Turkey for their strong support. The ban on the passage of Russian warships to the Black Sea and significant military and humanitarian support for Ukraine are extremely important today. The people of Ukraine will never forget that." We all know that Turkey is a member of the NATO. It is not a recent member. Turkey joined the NATO in 1952. Turkey is also dependent a lot on Russia for its oil import. So how come a country, such a small country, can stop the mighty Russian warships from entering the Black Sea? Let's get into the details and see the politics behind all this. Now, as soon as Russia came to know about this action of Turkey, mind you, they did not threaten the Turks. Instead, they got so bothered that they wanted to meet the Turkish government. So they requested for a meeting for which Turkey has agreed. So the two foreign ministers, Sergei Lavrov of Russia and Mevlut Cavusoglu, I hope I get the pronunciation right, it is not pronounced as it is written. Anyway, the two foreign ministers are slated to meet each other in Antalya, Turkey sometime later this week. From February onwards, Erdogan, the president of Turkey, has been itching to play a bigger role in the Ukraine-Russia war. In fact, in the last few weeks, Erdogan has been asking Putin to end the Ukraine war. Why is Turkey going a step ahead than NATO? NATO is watching the war from the sideline. It is only giving monetary support and a moral support to Ukraine. However, Turkey has gone ahead and blocked Russian seaplanes from entering from the Mediterranean into the Black Sea. Now, before we look at why Turkey is doing all this on the international platform, let's look at where Turkey stands today. Turkey today has huge internal problems. Its economy is in a mess. Inflation is running wild, and a few months ago, the inflation had crossed 50%. Yes, 50%, you heard it right. And even today, it is more than 30%. You know, in India, we get worried if the inflation crosses 3 or 4%, and even then we feel the pinch of prices. Imagine 50%. And all this is due to the bad policies of President Erdogan. Now, on the international front, Turkey today stands isolated. It has very bad relations with the United States. It has been calling Israel Nazis, and it backs the Hamas. It has bad relations with Greece, Cyprus, Egypt, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Armenia, and several other countries, including India, where it has been constantly supporting Pakistan on the Kashmir issue. Now, having domestic problems as well as being isolated on the international platform, they are seeking, President Erdogan is seeking some kind of way out because elections in Turkey are due in a year and a half. Now he is seeing this opportunity to come on the international stage, and if he is able to solve or help the Ukraine war and bring it to an end, he could be seen as a hero and would probably stand an iota of a chance to win the election in Turkey. However, as on date, he is hugely very unpopular in Turkey. A quick glimpse at the historical relations between Turkey and Russia. This will also help you understand the context in which Turkey is doing what it is really doing today. Turkey and Russia have been traditional enemies. For the past 500-600 years, they have fought many territorial wars. The Ottoman Empire and the Russian Empire were always at loggerheads. Both these empires were overthrown by the end of the First World War. Now, during the course of history, several agreements were signed between these two countries. One such agreement was signed in 1774 after the Russian-Turkish War, which resulted in granting Russia passage to the Black Sea, making it possible for Russia to gain access to the Mediterranean Sea. After the mid-90s, both countries have tried several times to normalize the relations, but at best, even today, we can call it as a seesaw relationship. In 2015, during the war with Syria, Turkey shot down a Russian Sukhoi 24 aircraft near the Syrian border, and that's when Putin described the incident as a stab in the back by the accomplices of terrorists. Thereafter, Russia imposed sanctions on Turkey. The sanctions continued for the next 2 to 3 years. Only they were lifted when Putin visited Turkey in late 2017, and both countries then agreed to end the Syrian civil war. And surprisingly, last year, the Turkish President Erdogan criticized Joe Biden for calling the Russian President Vladimir Putin a killer. Now let us just see how Turkey has been conducting itself since the beginning of the Ukraine war. In the beginning of February this year, Erdogan visited Ukraine, where he volunteered to organize a Ukraine-Russia conference and trying to stop the war. However, both countries rejected the offer. By the end of February, Turkey openly started to support Ukraine. On 25th February, however, Turkey abstained from voting against Russia regarding the suspension from the Council of Europe, and it called for an open dialogue between the two parties. Around the same time, the Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu stated that the assault on Ukraine is an action of war and committed to enforce the 1936 Montreux Convention. Now, the President Zelensky's tweet, which I showed you in the beginning, was in response to this action of Turkey. Now, what is the Montreux Convention of 1936? And when Turkey says that someone is at war, why does the ears of the world stand up? Now we'll have a detailed look at this. Just a quick clarification on the Council of Europe, which is not to be confused with the European Union. The Council of Europe is an international organization founded in the wake of World War II to uphold human rights, democracy and rule of law in Europe. It was founded in 1949 and today it has 47 members. There was a move to expel Russia from this, in which Turkey had voted in favor of Russia. However, in the UN General Assembly, Turkey voted along with its NATO partners in the resolution which condemned Russia for its attack on Ukraine. Only 4 countries supported Russia, which was Syria, Eritrea, North Korea and Belarus. There were 34 absentees, in that one was India, along with countries like South Africa, Senegal, South Sudan, Zimbabwe, Vietnam, Tanzania, etc. Now, before I take you through the Montreux Agreement, it is necessary to understand two more aspects. The first is the economic relationships between Turkey and Russia, and secondly, have a look at the geography of that place, which will give you a much better idea to understand the whole issue. Now, this graph shows the Russian imports from Turkey. In the year 2020, Russia had imported $5 billion worth of goods from Turkey. The effect of Russian sanctions on Turkey is clearly visible in this chart. In 2016, the imports had all but stopped from Turkey. Now, what does Russia import from Turkey? On top of the list, worth $1 billion is edible fruits, nuts, citrus fruits, etc. Second is machinery, nuclear reactors, boilers, and so on. And if you notice in this list, there is nothing really very serious that Russia imports from Turkey which it cannot get from other nations. The other way round is not at all similar. Russian exports to Turkey is 4 times that of what Russia imports from Turkey, and in the last few years it has been touching $21 billion. The effect of again the sanctions was clearly visible when this went down in the year 2015. Now, what does Russia export to Turkey? If you see, Turkey today is dependent on Russian oil and petroleum, and all what it gets from Russia is raw material such as iron, steel, aluminium, copper, oil seeds, etc. So, there is a much higher dependence of Turkey on Russia than the other way round. Almost 35 to 36% of its oil comes from Russia. Now, let's look at the geography of the area, the Black Sea and the Turkish Straits. I think all of you know the location of the Black Sea. Countries which share a coastline with the Black Sea are known as Black Sea powers. As on date, these are Bulgaria, Romania, Ukraine, Russia, Georgia, and Turkey. This landmass which you see here is known as the Crimea Peninsula. Crimea was a part of Ukraine till 2015, that is when Russia invaded Crimea and overtook that territory and forced it to merge with Russia through a rigged referendum. So, the Russian invasion of Ukraine is not something new. Russia has been constantly nibbling away territory of Ukraine in the last 10-15 years. However, even today, Ukraine has the largest coastline in the Black Sea, which is 2,782 kilometers, and at second place is Turkey with the coastline of 1,329 kilometers. The exclusive economic zone of Turkey is larger than Ukraine, primarily because of the shape of the coastlines. Now, I'll zoom into the area to give you a better view of the Turkish Straits. Now, if one has to cross a ship from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean, it has to pass through the Turkish Straits. These are 2 channels. The first one is near Istanbul. If any one of you has been to Istanbul, you might have seen this channel. This is known as the Bosphorus, which connects Black Sea with the Sea of Marmara. The second one connects the Sea of Marmara with the Aegean Sea and further the Mediterranean. This strait is known as Dardanelles, and both these straits are fully controlled by Turkey. Here is a view of the Bosphorus Strait while it passes through the city of Istanbul. It forms the continental boundary between Asia and Europe and divides Turkey by separating the Asia Minor part with that of the European part. The bridge which you see in the background is supposed to be connecting Asia and Europe. The Bosphorus Strait is 31 kilometers in length and the minimum width of this strait is only 700 meters, so ships have to be really careful while crossing this channel. On the other hand, the Dardanelles Strait is much longer. It is 61 kilometers in length and the minimum width is 1.2 kilometers. Now, if you want to get some idea of the traffic passing through the Turkish Strait, the traffic in this is almost half of that what passes through the Suez Canal every day, which is around 25 ships per day. So it remains a busy shipping sea lane. So now in my last section I discuss about the Montreux Convention, which is also sometimes known as the Montreux Treaty. Now this treaty, the original document version is in French and is available on the United Nations website. This treaty was also registered with the League of Nations, which was the equivalent of United Nations at that point in time. The League of Nations was an international organization which was created after the First World War for resolving international disputes. This was formed in January 1920 and later on merged with the United Nations after the Second World War. Here is a quick visualization of the member states who were a part of the League of Nations. The countries marked in dark blue are the founding members that stayed till the end. Now, many of these countries at that time were under British rule, and that is why the entire Indian subcontinent here is shown to be a founding member. Then we have the grey states. Now, the grey states never joined the League of Nations, and in this, the major power which was not part of League of Nations was the United States. Then we have another color which is yellow, and these are countries that joined later and left earlier. In that category comes Russia. The USSR was expelled from the League of Nations in 1939 due to its invasion over Finland. Now, USSR was a signatory of the Montreux Treaty, but US was neither a member of the League of Nations and also was not a signatory to the Montreux Treaty, and that is why till date US doesn't consider Turkey's sovereign right over the Turkish Straits. So, which are the countries which signed the Montreux Convention? There are 10 countries which include the 4 Black Sea powers at that time, which is Bulgaria, Romania, Turkey and the Soviet Union. Now, the treaty was signed on 20th July 1936 and came into effect from 9th November the same year. The nations took the in-between months to ratify this treaty. The other major powers which signed this treaty were Australia, France, Greece, Japan, Yugoslavia and the United Kingdom. This treaty was signed in Montreux in Switzerland. For those of you who just want to know where is this city, I will just show you this on this map. For people who have been to Geneva in Switzerland, it's about 30 kilometers on the Swiss side of Lake Geneva, and this is the small municipality of about 20,000 people. This is where this treaty was signed. Now I'll take you through some very important articles of this treaty, just enough so that you can understand why and how action that Turkey has taken. The English version of this treaty, I have given the link below in this slide. Section 1 of this treaty deals with merchant vessels, that is the commercial ships. Article 2 here states that in peacetime, when no war is going on, then there is no restriction on any movement of merchant vessels through the Turkish Straits. There may be some physical restrictions which restrict the type of vessel or the tonnage of the ship. Now, Article 4 says that in the time of war, where Turkey is not a party to the war, then also Turkey will not place any restriction of merchant ships moving through the straits. Article 5 says, in time of war, where Turkey is involved, merchant vessels not belonging to a country at war with Turkey shall still enjoy the freedom of transit and navigation in the straits on condition that they do not in any way assist the enemy. Section 2 of this treaty deals with the vessels at war, that means the naval ships. Section 12 allows the Black Sea states to get back their vessels to their naval bases if they happen to be outside the area, or if they purchase any new vessel. They have to give a notice to Turkey, which is around 8 days, but if it is a non-Black Sea power, they have to give a 15-day notice. And none of the vessels belonging to nations other than the Black Sea can stay in the area for more than 5 days. Now, Article 15 states that if any power gets an aircraft carrier into the Black Sea, the aircraft cannot be used under any circumstances. Now, Article 19 is the most important. This is the article under which Turkey has banned the Russian ships from entering or leaving the Black Sea. Now, this article states that at time of war where Turkey is not participating or none of the powers are participating, then the warships can pass on as usual. However, vessels of war belonging to any country which is at war shall not make any capture, exercise the right of visit and search, or carry out any hostile act in the straits. Under this act, Turkey has the right to stop their entry. Now remember, USSR is a signatory of this Treaty of Montreux, so it cannot make any objections on what Turkey is doing. At the same time, it is highly worried that if Turkey stops the movement of all its naval ships, it amounts to another kind of a blockade, another kind of a sanction, which is going to affect Russia very badly. And that's why they are now rushing off to meet the Turks. So that is all for this week. I'll see you again next week with some other interesting topic. Till then, namaskar.